The Joker is a sort of metaphor for chaotic nihilism in a world gone mad. Or he's an anti-hero. Or maybe a true American patriot. Anything but a simple psychopath or petty criminal with a clown/comedian motif. Writers have been interpreting and reinterpreting his 80-year history, but recently some feel a single panel is a demonstration that a creative team has made the Joker the woker and made a mockery of this long-respected and very serious comic book character, held so deeply and closely in the American consciousness as to have appeared in everything from feature film to lunchboxes. But in this panel, taken out of context, is it proof that the Joker has finally gone woke? Yes, of course it is. Taking one aspect of something and creating a moral panic is what we do best in this goddamn country. Are there no institutions safe from the woke agenda? I am, of course, 100% serious. I'm Dan Umpton, and this is the Doomcast. Alright, before we get started, do me a favor and subscribe and hit the bell. Also, leave a comment on this video, because if you don't, nobody will feed my children. They are cybernetic monsters who feed on comments. Please, think of them. Okay, now stop thinking about them. To say that the woke agenda has taken over every aspect of American life is no exaggeration. From M&Ms that are no longer highly erotic to me, to black and queer people existing, the foundations of Western civilization, that is, the total oppression and exploitation of the global South and its diaspora, as well as anything that is not passionless marital heterosexuality, is under attack, as we can all agree. And yes, while we can have spiteful and bigoted terrible sex on our own, why wouldn't we want to externalize our internalized hatred for ourselves? And of course, the far left, which is anyone who is not a salivating fascist, are attacking and reinventing such American icons like the Joker at every turn. A character who is in no way ever been queer-coded, and like Batman, never will be at all. Now, have I ever read a Batman comic or a Joker comic? I have skimmed the DC fandom page about both. The last part should not be in air quotes. The panel in question comes from a totally canonical story in a comic book called The Joker, The Man Who Has Stopped Laughing, by Michael Rosenberg and Frank Frickerson. Now, no, I have not read it, but I saw the panel, and it's clearly a picture of someone poking a pregnant Joker and saying, "He's pregnant." Listen, what is the most sacred thing in Western culture? What is our entire culture founded upon? Correct. Clowns. Second most, pregnant women. That's right, women. So if you're going to make the Joker a male clown, pregnant, this flies in the face with tradition. And what's wrong with flying in the face of tradition? It's time-honored, and it's rude. Something the Joker should be above. Now, some of you may be criticizing me for not reading it in context. However, if you would like, I will read it. Fine. I will read it. The entire thing. Just give me a few minutes. Okay, so listen, to clarify, I'm still absolutely right. This is super woke. And I wasn't taking the panel out of context. This, yes, is a side story by Matthew Rosenberg and Francesco Francavilla, and yes, it's clearly a non-canonical fever dream sort of side story to things, and yes, it turns out he accidentally swallowed Clayface, we later barfed up, who then took the form of a smaller Joker, which, yes, I have to admit the entire book is very well written and illustrated, especially Francavilla's work. And, you know, the entire main story is take on the nature of identity and how trauma affects the behavior of otherwise regular people, especially in Gotham City. Yeah, it is a comic book, and it's meant to be funny. But that, you have to understand, is exactly how the wokes take over. They make these really well-written and illustrated things For people, like, not to enjoy, but to enjoy, and it's all clearly very literal and not for fun and an expression of their very extremist ideals, absolutely. And if I have to see one panel about what I interpret as anything other than a clearly cisgendered male or female, then I have to acknowledge that persons like that not only exist, but by extension have a right to exist. And if that's true, then anyone else intersectionally also has the right to exist, and I have no control over that, which that is antithetical to, like, my very narrow interpretation of the historically brief and transitional period from antiquity to modernity, which I've selectively decided to call Western civilization. And if I'm incorrect about any part of that, then the entire structure of beliefs that I have breaks down completely, and I can no longer defend it. So this is bullshit. I mean, just recently, in the Harley Quinn animated series, the Joker was advocating for publicly funded healthcare, which, because we all know the Joker is a bad guy, when it suits me, that means that only bad guys want public healthcare. It's them saying the quiet part out loud, and totally not me projecting any part of my complex and dogmatic paranoid view of the entire world onto one comic book character. It's that cartoon character espoused a fairly mainstream and globally popular political position, and that is Socialism 101. Just once, I'd like to hear the Joker say something in the character I, a person who has never read a comic book before, imagine his character to be. Sadly, that day will never come, it seems. It's for this reason that I want to urge all of you fans whose fandom is only from right-wing YouTube videos and wiki articles to continue your lifelong boycott of comic books in general, but DC and this Joker book in particular, to show them that they can't get your money, which they already have not been receiving. I am glad, though, that at least Matthew Rosenberg and others continue to make these kinds of comics, because otherwise I'd have nothing to outrage me minute to minute, to distract me from the utter misery that is my life, that is due to internalized capitalism and right-wing propaganda. Some mornings it feels like all I am is anger, and I just have this deep resentment towards everything in the world because I don't understand why the world is so cruel, and all of the compassion is burnt out of me, and the only thing that makes me feel alive is being angry at other people who are enjoying themselves. Can you understand why I really want the Joker to be a nihilist clown anti-hero? Why I love that idea? It's because Superman and Batman set a standard of compassion and empathy that is so difficult for me to even imagine that I have got to deem it completely unrealistic. Anyway, thanks for watching. This has all been 100% serious, and absolutely no sarcasm should have been implied. It's already been inferred very heavily. So if you're mad, please post a comment that proves me right. Thanks for watching.